We spoke a few times this week about the purity of the Jewish community. We spoke about Venigdashti, should sanctify God's name. So I want to share with you, excuse me, a fascinating story that I just heard a week and a half ago about holiness and purity. So stay with me. And first we are going to say thank you to Hashem. Mizmor L'Soido, chapter 100. Join me. Mizmor L'Soido, Ril Adonai Kol Ha'aretz, Ivdu Es Adonai B'Simcha, Oy Lefano B'Yonon Aduk Adonai Elim, Hu Osanu V'Lo Enachnam V'Tzoi Marisoi, Oy Yishor V'Soido Chatzoroi B'Silo Hoyde L'Baruch Shemoy, Yitoi V'Adonai L'Elam Chazdoi V'Yadoi V'Dor Amunasoi. And let us all give tzedakah. Now the story I heard, the story was told by the son of the individual with whom it happened, preferably to be left nameless, somebody in California. And the story goes as follows. This young man, son of a very wealthy industrialist in California, religious man, Chabad Chassid, went into the business of wholesaling cigarettes and was extremely successful, moved huge amounts to the point that it attracted head office of Philip Morris. And he was surprised how come that a person who is so new to the business yet is moving such large quantities. And they started suspecting maybe there's some illegalities. On the books and everything else, everything looked fine. They couldn't find anything. So the vice president of Philip Morris decided he's going to meet this young man. I'm not sure exactly where he is stationed, but it was important to them to go see what's going on. Made an appointment. Happens to be that this young man at that time, I think, didn't even have a proper office. I think he worked out of his basement. So he decided to bring him to the office of his father, who was, as I said earlier, a very successful industrialist in his business. Nice plush office. And that's where they meet. Young man, vice president of Philip Morris, young Hasidic Jew, has no idea who this vice president is, Jewish or not Jewish, but it wasn't that important to him. But when he walks into the office, this vice president notices two big pictures. One picture, painting picture of the previous Rebbe, that is Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak, the father-in-law of the Rebbe, and a picture of the Rebbe. He sees those pictures. He turns around to the young man and says, "Do you know this rabbi?" He says, "Actually, I studied in 770 in New York, gone to the Rebbe many times, Farbrengens and so on." "No," he says, "I don't mean this one, I mean the previous one, the picture of the previous Rebbe." He says, "Actually, I was born quite after he left this world." So he says, "I had the opportunity to meet him." Now he's shocked. This is when? When the previous Rebbe came in 1942 to Chicago, my family lived in Chicago. And one day my father tells me we're going to meet a rabbi. Although I was very reluctant, was not into rabbi things. But my father didn't give me a choice and we went. And there we were a group of teenagers waiting for the Rebbe to come into the room where we waited. As he walked in, we were mesmerized. We saw royalty. He spoke to us for a little while, and then he gave us a blessing. I didn't understand what he said because he spoke in Yiddish. So when we left, I asked my father, what did he speak? So he tells me he spoke about the laws of family purity, marriage and family purity. And my father looks at me and says, look, I want you to promise me that you will marry only a Jewish girl and you will keep these laws. I was under this tremendous influence of the presence of the Rebbe. I promised. I went off to college. Met a girl, happened to be Jewish, although it didn't mean that much to me at that time. But now I'm ready to propose. How do I tell this girl that I made a commitment to keep Taras HaMishpacha, family purity law? We were both not religious. But I made a promise, I keep a promise. And one day I tell her, I said, look, I'd love to marry, but there's a condition. And I tell her. She looks at me and says, wow, you too were by the speech of this rabbi. And he says, I want you to know we kept the commitment.